what can you say to reassure us that this will not have an adverse effect on press freedom, on free expression in the country?
Okay, if I may, the issue here, I think it has to be cleared. This is not an attack on press freedom. This is a simple case of holding someone accountable for not living up to the standards of ethical journalism. We have consistently said that our client was maliciously attacked or maligned on an online publication. And if you can see what happened earlier, right after the conviction, did she go to jail? She did not. She held a press conference and then proclaiming that there is a government conspiracy against her. How has press freedom been affected by that? She still has the pulpit. She can still go on TV and continue speaking. Of course, there's a conviction, but she still has the process of going on appeal. As far as I'm concerned, the Constitution has not changed. The Bill of Rights has not changed. The right of freedom of expression and speech has always been protected, and the jurisprudence regarding libel has also not changed. It has always said that libel is not protected speech. You commit libel, and it's proven in court, then you will have to suffer the requisite penalties.
Mr. Cruz, in the end, the judge herself said that the case is not one involving the government or any of its officials as complainants. So even the judge is making that a point. However, I have to ask you this: is Mr. Keng in any way associated with anybody in government? Does he know the president or anybody else higher up?
To my knowledge, no. In fact, there was an article linking him to the Chinese businessman who I think donated a drug rehab facility somewhere in Nueva Ecija, and then on the same article,
Mhm.
the president was also present during that ceremony. As far as I'm concerned, I think probably that was the only time that they were in the same place together.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Well, I had to ask that question because some people are making connections. Like, for example, in 2019 October, the president
Yeah.
appointed Mr. Keng's
Patricia.
daughter, Patricia, as a member of the Philippine Commission on Women.
Can I
I
pick
am
up
So
on
some
not
people are making those connections.
Yeah,
Yes.
can I pick up
okay.
on this point? The fact that if Mr. Keng's daughter was indeed appointed, I don't think that is relevant because what is involved here is Mr. Keng's willingness to vindicate his reputation. So the government, they keep going back to this issue. If the case was influenced by the government, the simple answer is that it is not. It is a personal case to Mr. Keng.
Hmm.
Thank you,
If
Mr. Duterte, I think Ed raised the point not so much to say that it's relevant to the case, but specifically to ask if Mr. King knows anybody in government, and that's the context as to why we're asking. If you're saying that no, he doesn't know anything, he doesn't know anyone in government, but at the same time, his daughter is appointed. What's the truth here? I mean, how does
Okay.
it? I mean, we're not saying that the appointment is relevant to the case. We just want to know the basic truth because the assertion of people defending Rappler is that we cannot take away the context of President Duterte's uh, real anger towards Rappler, and he's very overt, very explicit about it. We can't take away that context. So we just want to know, I mean, kilala niya ba o hindi? Because na-appoint yung anak niya eh.
Okay. Yung pagkakakilala niya kay President Duterte, I don't think he knows the president personally. And I'm glad that you brought that up, the connection with president. You mentioned the ire of the president towards Raptor. Let's look at the timeline. When did the president actually express his ire towards Raptor? I think in a previous interview, Maria Ressa said that it was during the State of the Nation address in 2017, which would happen in July of 2017. But when did Mr. Keng actually start writing Rappler to have the article corrected? This happened in August of 2016, 11 months before the president supposedly expressed his displeasure toward Rappler. And earlier I heard that Ms. Ressa said that there has been a slew of cases against Rappler beginning 2018. So the slew of cases in 2018 actually comes after the very early request of Mr. Keng to have his name clean, to have his records rectified, to have the article published saying that the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency has not found him liable or has investigated, much less charged him for any offense involving drugs.
Okay, let's reverse the question then. Could it be that the government was using Mr. Keng's case to build a case against Rappler? If
Um,
you're saying that the calendar, that the timetable seemed to show that all the cases against Maria were filed after, long after you had filed a libel case. Could it have
I,
been that the case was being used, although
I,
unwittingly on your part, perhaps? But is it possible that
well,
it was used?
I don't think so. If you look at the cases filed by the government against Maria Ressa, these are, I believe, tax evasion cases or violation of its franchise for issuing Philippine depository receipts. The evidence that you will require in prosecuting those cases would not need any of the evidence. It would not have the same issues as the one raised in this libel case. So whether or not we win in the libel case will not have any effect on the other cases filed by the government. They could not
Yeah, but
use, they could not ride on the
yeah,
shoulders of any progress that we can have in this cyber libel case. This cyber libel case, again, if you notice, the judgment did not even find a corporate liability for Rappler as an entity. It just said it confined the liability to Ms. Maria Ressa as editor-in-chief or as an executive editor and Mr. Reynaldo Santos as the actual writer of the article. So I could not see how it could be tied to any conspiracy of government. Actually, as a lawyer personally, we feel that our efforts are being watered down, are being cheapened by these allegations. It's like
yeah,
saying that everybody else is playing for second place because we already know
yeah,
that we've won. I don't think that's fair. And secondly,
yeah,
I heard Ms. Ressa say that there is participation of the Department of Justice in the prosecution of this case. It is a basic legal principle in the Philippines that any criminal case is actually prosecuted in the name of the people of the Philippines. So therefore, the
yes,
Department of
yes.
Justice will always be involved.